Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. Time to create another reading for you. This one is going to be called Exposing Things People Say About You. It's as usual a timeless pick a card reading. You will find the timestamps in the description. Choose whichever pile resonates the most with you, and if you identify with the information or with the energy I present, then it's definitely your pile. If not, you can switch, choose another, or basically go for another reading if it doesn't resonate at all. If you want, you can pick up, let's just say, individual information that resonates the most, but I want to say if the overall 70 to 60, kind of like 70, I would say, percent of the reading doesn't resonate with you, most likely this is not your reading. So yeah, those are the general, as usual, kind of like the go-to rules I always use for the readings. And above all, I would like you to trust and choose to act and decide in life things in accordance with your will, with your discernment, and use the readings more so as, so to speak, energetic pointers or aid in that regard. So I think that's pretty much it. You'll find the timestamps again in the description section or the comments. So yeah, I will go ahead and begin with pile number one. Welcome to your reading pile number one. We're starting off with a very controversial card. We have the Miser, Stubbornness, and Flexibility. You know, that's interesting, particularly because it's such a convoluted way to express, for the energy to express itself into the reading with this card to begin with. This is a heavy, very dense information that's coming through. And this is a very, like, I've been through a lot type of pile. And again, it carries this, a lot of information or a lot of layers of information and character dimensions we have in here. This is not a regular person. This is not a person who's like surfacey. This is very, very deep pile, a very deep in character traits type of pile person. Things that were said about you are very interesting, are ranging in here from blatant neglect, ignorance, or avoidance, and closing their eyes to who you are. But it doesn't work. There was a sort of a cover thing that happened with pile number one that almost it wants to come through as it nullified, or it almost as if it obliterated or temporarily hurt your reputation. It is a sort of a story where things that were said about you were blatantly false and directed to negatively impact you. This doesn't work. This is why this is such a convoluted way to show up in the reading as an energy, because the Miser, Stubbornness, and Flexibility, this is a huge effort to mess with you, a huge effort to annihilate somehow your name or your presence or your overall presence that gets exerted through your aura or through your presence in the room, or I don't know how to explain it. I just want to say there is a lot of importance that's being shown into the reading, that it got carried with the words, got carried with the conversations that were like things that were spoken about you. Still, the fact is your presence is undeniably strong and undeniably ever lasting and ever unchanging. And I want to say with the Miser, it's things that were said about you were along the lines of we tried our best to bring their influence, like to bring down their influence, and it didn't work, okay? Amidst all of this, your presence was ever, ever, ever present. That's what it wants to say. There is a whole great deal of purification in here that's happening, or transition shifts, changes, like the death card. I can see it in this configuration. We have this miser. It's as if wherever you walk, wherever you go, you shift and transform and change everything. I can see this, like if you will pay attention to the card and its visual aspect. We have these bricks, everything gets shaken, and I believe that this is talking about the fact that people were talking about this, we're discussing, we're gossiping. It's not this is urgency, this is urgent information, urgent talks, urgent conversations about you. They're here, this is what I can hear in this case. um we cannot get rid of them, like that's the feeling, and something undeniably strong and almost inequality, I would say dark but in a good way. You know how black like takes on or absorbs everything, like it has this like almost vacuum effect. It takes all in, all energy, and it almost nullifies it, and in this case I wanted to say it transforms. We have this very expansive aura with pile number one, and things that were said about you is like we cannot get rid of them, and they are powerful, they are unexpected, always like unpredictable. There is like I don't know what to expect from this person. There is almost a fear. There is like I don't want to like go there in the sense that this is not a direct way people said it, but they were very in discomfort, let's just say. They were in various states of discomfort when they were expressing how they felt, and I just it's so strange in here because I don't see anything bad in the context of this pile in regards to who you are. I just want to say it's just either you are a mirror to people, or it does make me feel like you bring up everything that's authentic or everything that's real in people, and they don't want to see it. They don't want to lock eyes. I want to just say there is a lot of undeniable like tower moment coming to people when they meet you, and then they are shocked or they discuss that stuff. I really hope we can get to something better in here, but I want to say there is just raw power that's being exuded from the ways that people were talking about you, okay? And this is seemingly going to distill itself into negative comments. I just want to say that from the start, meaning that people will generally talk about you in a way, a distant way or something like this, but they do so because you are important in this case, or because you carry in your aura something that's super powerful, and it makes people just can't, like they cannot stop talking in this case. And I want to say, no matter who the person is, they could be a higher up, they could be a director, they could be whatever else, they could be a celebrity, whatever they may be, this doesn't, literally, you don't give a f, your energy doesn't give that. So it's like you unleash this wave of, I don't know, change or impact. A strong impact came through from pile number one, and it's undeniable. It's undeniable. You cannot close your eyes to it. With the miser, it's like a lot of attention. Over time, it gets better, I just want to say. But at first, people are shaken. I want to say, like, the conversations were very, like, almost, it was expression of discomfort, but I want to say it's as if it was necessary. This pile is like, to be honest with you, that like the most surprising thing in this card is the fact that like it's the case of a black sheep, you know, like the person could be um let's just say universally, or how do they say it, arbitrarily innocent, but when they enter the room it gets like this trigger, it gets unleashed upon people, and they are forced to face themselves. Okay, there is a huge area of just power and influence that's being emitted from you into people's lives, and they talk about this a lot. I just, with the miser, I wouldn't be surprised if you would find in this reading the fact that you are talked or mentioned or talked about in a very frequent, consistent way. There seems to always it could feel as though that was accompanying you for a very long time, but it also, I want you to feel this, because it's almost mm, like the presence of pile number one is just as undeniable as an eclipse. But this is like, it doesn't carry the negative, okay? Because it doesn't carry the negative aspect, because ultimately what you bring to people, and this is specifically in the long term, is so quality driven that people are super grateful. They are super grateful to have met you, and it's the case where the over time influence of or impact of pile number one is undeniably powerfully driven towards something like of sorts, like the best, most actualized potential, or the optimal, like, it's just, I want to say you're like the missing puzzle piece in a lot of situations, or in a lot of people's lives in this case, even though at first they could come to you with an antagonistic energy. And there is, like, in the words, if people, like, specifically because this is the topic, what they say, there is this almost discomfort that is being carried in the voice or in the words of the people. But also at the same time, there is this just undeniable feeling of respect, or even like deep, almost like love or admiration. And this is so confusing or almost paradoxical in a way, because how can two things like this coexist? Like, this pile would be tired. Like, I would expect, or I would imagine you'd hear this reading and say, yeah, I'm tired of this, or I am so exhausted to hear, or I know it carries like a deep imprint on me, or I can feel it in the air. And it's like super frustrating, because it's as if you want, like, not even as if, because this is literally what's happening, I feel. You want to bring the best, but what you can face is ignorance or rejection, or just a sort of intimidation. Oh my god, this is becoming so familiar though. It carries an intimidation aspect that it was never intended, or it never came from you, but the person perceived it that way, or the person, you come with the best, most progressive intentions ever, but what you're faced with, it's just the opposite, or you're faced with a lot of either competition, or just ignorance, or just avoidance, or rejection. Anyway, the fact is, with pile one, the things that are being said right now, or at least in the very beginning, are a bit not very representative of who you are, if not at all, actually. But in all of this, what I can also pick up on, and I find it to be extremely fondly fascinating, is the fact that it's something really, speaking of potential. So we've had in here people talking about you also in a way that made it seem, or made it was very paradoxical again, but it's like this person is gonna go very, very far. It almost feels like you are taming people in a way, like the conversations that were surrounding your name were at times a bit even confusing to people themselves, because it's as if one day the person was saying something about you and the other completely the other way around, or it's as if the gradual change in the way in people talk or address you is very slow but steady. And eventually, what people are left with when they talk about you is the fact that they have a very deep and profound respect that's coming through. But the aspect of this person is gonna go far. It's so, it's very powerful in here with the miser. Like, it's from ashes to the stars, or that's the same like feeling. And it's as if you don't even necessarily strike at first an impression that really, it could be a very good and solid impression, but people filter it, people uh, transfer or transmute it in such a way that it just goes, you could show up in the best of ways, but people translate it in negative ways. But over time, this changes, and it changes in your favor greatly, I just want to say. With specifically this miser word, because I can also scope in at that, with that aspect in mind. At first, it's as if people would like to scapegoat you, but this doesn't work in the long term again. And with stubbornness and inflexibility, it's as if people don't want to recognize, accept the fact that you're here, or it could have been that you were mentioned in conversations in the ways like, I don't like this person. When will they go away? When will they not be here? Something like this. But the striking thing about this pile is as well how precisely the same people who were talking about this stuff, they are the ones who are grieving you in the end when you go, okay? There seems to be a desire to connect in here from every like person, but it is the fact or the case where no matter how much they want, there's like too much of a gap in here that needs to be slowly bridged, and that you are more than capable or more than willing actually to bridge. But what we have in here is the person not being able or not being ready to quite to do so. So that's leaving pile number one with a lot of question marks in this case, and not knowing like what am I supposed to even do. Okay, that's exactly like precisely the energy I saw in here, and you are discussed in various ways. But I want to say in particular 60% that's coming from this card, at least in the now. This is not necessarily the best conversations, but in the long term, you have the stars I was shuffling, and I want you to say that, I want you to know, to say that, and the lovers, okay, profound admiration, love, respect, and a desire to come close, even though they've had some sort of, let's just say, unspoken passive aggression or competitiveness or in general competition, and comparing themselves to you. And this is unfortunately, you could be even faced like even with the greatest people or with ones even you could have feelings for, or you could have some sort of desire to connect to. But in this case, it's going to be like distance. It's going to be, for a time at least, it's gonna be a very confusing thing, and you're just gonna be like, I think I'm just gonna stay here and watch and not do anything in particular because I cannot know what I did. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. You did nothing wrong. It's just like what you carry inside of you is just a bit too, let's just say, intimidating for people to accept at first, but I can feel like gradually this energy sort of gets tamed or gets, let's just say, settled in the best way possible. And it's like a stage, like, a very like good matured wine. That's how this that's the feeling people get when they get the luck to know you and to have a long-term interaction with you. We have Ace of Swords as well. um there is some conversation in here in which it covered the ways in which you look. It's a very active conversation, by the way, and a very positive outlook, or a very positive, let's just say, conversation or information that has been exchanged about your, specifically your looks, okay? It also makes me feel like there is just a lot of attention, and it wants me to say, it wants to show up in almost a frustrating type of tension with conflict in the middle of it. It's as if people just don't like it. They don't like what they see, in the sense that it's just intensely triggering. We have this like also admiration, and there is nothing wrong with this person, but I can't stand them. That's the words that were exchanged in the process, that were said. And we have the star. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. There is a lot of, in general, for this pile, I want to say there is a lot of talk, and there's that type of talk or conversations that were being almost like in a close setup, or people who were close or working together, and there was a lot of like compliment or or praise, a lot of compliments, praise, just admiration, and a lot of respect that came through from this pile. from like talking about this pile. But again, there was a feeling of this is not right. What are we gonna do with it? Like, how are we gonna cope with this? Like, why is this person so like almost like flashy in this energy and with this respect? And what are we gonna do if they continue on being here? So there is panic in here. There is a sort of anticipation or fear that's being brought to the table with the idea that, you know, you could go far, and how far are we gonna go in comparison to them? This could be also work related or something you where you're present for like some very great, like a lot of time, or just in general it does make me feel like you are exposed to a lot of speculation and a lot of conversations in here, specifically with the Ace of Swords. And seemingly the general, let's just say strangers, impressions and stuff from people who don't necessarily know you, they have a pretty good impression. They have a pretty good way in which they could relate to you. What is happening in here could most likely be about some people who got the chance to have a taste of what's like to work with you, to be in your presence, to hang about, to be around you in general, and a lot of people who are watching, okay? A lot of people who are staring, comparing, and stuff like that. But in general, I just want to say, very solid file, very, very, very solid file, and you seem to be quite the topic of the day or of the week or of the month, something like this. It's like there is this magnetism, this like a lot of attention is going to pile number one, and seemingly when you will feel it, it will be as though you are experiencing a negative energy or a negative, let's just say, attention, or you'd call it that way, or you'd say that I don't understand what's going on, where in fact it actually quite is a very promising thing in here that's being like the ways in which you are referred to are very, let's just say, promising, or a lot of people are watching or are very curious about what's gonna be next, where are you going, and in general all eyes on you. I can definitely see that, and a lot of people thinking to themselves that it would be great for them to not know it, but we want them to be in our team. Like just a very happy feeling of, you know, if this person were to be on our team, we'd be so happy, okay? That's the star. Like we have a team player that's gonna like really complement our work, our team again. It's going to be like also like a neglected child in here is being the story, or the black sheep, or the ostracized, you know, child that's like the isolated one or whatever. um, there is like almost a desire to claim you, okay? This is the case, and this could go beyond actually the just regular, this could be into a romantic sense. Like there is in here an energy of some people, or it could be a person. Let me check. Yeah, it could be a one person, but it could be also a group. Most likely it is one person that sees everything that's going on and wants to almost like claim or accept you or love you in the ways in which the group rejects you. And there is seemingly strange information saying that a lot of people see your potential, but this person in particular wants you to basically shine or wants to help you out. There is also this like genuine feeling of this person is gonna go far, and also a hesitation of sorts to be in your way. But also this is a case where something that has been said was in the sense of a very calculated or detached or mental analysis type of thing that was applied to your character, to who you are, and they were saying to themselves both, it could be the case, this person is gonna go far. This person exudes or shows signs of a very promising person. This is interesting because particularly this seems to be something about work, story about work, about your progression status or what you're going to pursue. But all of this also, like, it takes some very deep and wise, very deep and observant people, perceptive people in this case, because all they see, like the surface level people see some sort of, let's just say, unclear picture in their mind, whereas you have in here some people watching or observing you, and talking more so to themselves, like it's a sort of a monologue situation. And the person people are saying, this is kind of curious, I'm very curious about this person. They will go very, very far. This is like power in the shadow, or passive power, or in the shadows there is like this unknown wild energy that people can sense from you, okay, coming from you, but it's almost inactive at times, or right now it has to be that way. Still it shines through in such a powerful and striking way that it leaves people just envious and triggered. Envious in here would be the case, and triggered would be most applicable to say, because you bring up unknowingly the most like the deepest aspects of people, and it seems to be it seems to be making them susceptible to throwing tantrums in a way. And yeah, it's just like very, very passionate also. Like someone in here had a very passionate conversation, seemingly also exposing some negative things they thought about you, but also like this person was also like trying to not bring you down necessarily, but just envious and somehow like, I kind of like them, but I don't understand this or that, and it's like very difficult for me. But deep down, it's like a lot of comparison and a lot of, let's just say, pent up and suppressed energy. There seems to be conversation in here mentioning some sort of element of we are in danger, we are at risk with our person, we are like we have to prove ourselves. There was some sort of discussion here, or this could be a group thing or work related again. I want to be like them. I want to be close to them. Like this is Three of Pentacles. Also, it could come in the guise of a conversation in the form of let's just be work friends, or let's just try to be friends with them, because Pentacles in general, like it's like very business, like let's just say non emotionally driven. But there was a conversation in here like saying I want to be like them, and I want to cooperate, or I want to study them, or I want to hold close, I want to develop a deep relationship with them. This is how this card feels. And also there is this attachment here that's strongly always assisting Four of Pentacles. It's like a desire to have an experience of your presence as much as possible, as frequent as possible, as it is possible for them at least. In the context of work or something like this, from this area, it could be like I want to be to make them stay. I want to have more. I want to have more of them. It could be the case, and it's a very graspy feeling. Like it's just so funny. Like we have the Chariot in reverse, and this eagle is like almost pouncing. You know, um, this could be a convoluted way to express the fact that people want to be in your presence, but they kind of are afraid of letting you know that this is the case, and that they are locked on you. Okay, like their eyes, their gaze, their attention is locked on you. And it's like also with Two of Swords, could be a bit intimidating, or it could be even I'm not like, I can feel it, I don't kind of like it. This person decided that they want to have a more time with you. I don't know, like I don't feel comfortable with this right now, or I'm like seeking some sort of, let's just say, retreat. Okay, there seems to be an information saying like they are guarded, they were talking to, they are protected, or they are protecting themselves, they are holding their cards to themselves real close. They're not as open, they are like a secret person, they are like very mysterious and very, very alluring. Okay, and the more alluring you are, it seems like these people are just wanting to they seem to be even more intrigued. Okay, um there is a very interesting thing that came from the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, It's like, when this person came, they didn't look as promising or whatever, but as time passed, more and more it was actually the opposite. Or this person doesn't seem to be having a lot of luck because the wheel is like luck or something. But over time, it's as if they never needed it in the first place, and this person is capable of creating miracles. There is an element of this shouldn't be, but it is. It's not real, or it's not possible, or it's too fast, or it's too strange, or how this person works, or what this person is receiving from exterior. This is just not normal. This doesn't work like this, or this is very strange. I don't understand how this person functions. And with the high priestess, there were a lot of conversations also in the idea that I don't understand this person. I don't know what is going on with them, and I do not know how they, in general, what's their take on life, what is their life philosophy, how they function, and why they do the things they do, and why they're so lucky. Even though at first we thought this person is not going to be as lucky or whatever, stuff like this. Or it's like with the high priestess, like my intuition was never telling me anything about this person. I never got the hint at first, or I didn't even listen, perhaps. But it's like people jump to conclusions where they want to underestimate you, and when that is completely thrown into the trash can with the underestimation thing, they're genuinely surprised and saying to themselves like, why didn't say I see this coming? Okay, like that's a real frustration in here I can pick up on. And it's like, it's very funny also how like I was doing a reading on conversation, but it seems like more so the case with in this pile is going to be about observation, about monologues, about things they say to themselves, and in the ways in which people reflect, react, think, and perceive you, and the ramification or intricacies. But the first card was very surprising to have in the reading. We also have your hard work is paying off. This is very, like, again, it could be also earthy energy in this pile, and very just grounded, strong. Like we have the star in here with the element of earth. Uh, this is a different deck, so yeah, it's not like necessarily like, but it's just very stable and like very long term. Okay, very like stubborn long term. I will reach the stars, I know it. Or yeah, a lot of conversations just like circling around. And um there is, not gonna lie, this is the case where also it talks about like some sort of competition, or somebody in here of sort of a higher up or in a higher position feeling really intimidated, not even like necessarily intimidated, but just fearful. And like, what is this person doing here? And if they are gonna keep up, then I don't know what's gonna be next. Okay. Again, monologue, more so like thoughts to themselves, stuff like that. But it makes them feel really unsettled in a way. It makes them feel like something is not right, like with this person. It's just too, like, I'm not buying this. Like, I'm not buying this image that everyone is saying about them, that they're not lucky or whatever. And already there seems to be an element in here of unexpected that just like throws people into such a almost a panic or a hysteria, because they said to themselves like, I placed a bet on this person, and now what, am I wrong? Or it's like, I was wrong about this person to begin with. And they are very surprised. They're very surprised with what you bring to the table, and they're very, let's just say, unsettled in a way, because they were ascribing some quality traits or some, let's just say, labels to you, and you ended up destroying those pretty fast. Okay. There is an information in here as well, like saying we should be careful with this person, we should be cautious, we should be calculated, we should filter out what we say, what we do, we should give them one impression. A lot of plans in here, just a lot of plans, and a lot of play, a lot of, let's say, play in the, it's like a whole act that you will witness. My advice to you, pile number one, is to never find any real truth in the ways that people see you, because there is a lot of stuff that are being brought a lot of things that are being brought to the surface. I was looking at this, I have a sort of a map that I traversed reading with to extend or to extract information that's relating to the best, most refined outcome for you. And there is just a lot of love, a lot of admiration in here, but it's convoluted. And it seems to be at first being translated and shown through very just poisonous, just like awful competition-wise things and projections. There is just a lot of love and attention that's being directed to you, but unfortunately I have this idea in here that it's being translated in the most horrible ways possible, because it's not okay. It's as if the person would want your attention but would translate it into envy or jealousy and would subsequently act according to their perceived threat or thing. It's as if, does the person who's jealous love? Yeah, kind of, but in a very, let's just say, non-adequate way. All you can do in here, in the validation sense of the reading, I can say for sure, it wouldn't have been the case if you would not have those qualities, and so it makes it possible for you to have so much attention, okay? If you were not interesting, if you were not as magnetic or as deep as I was describing in the miser card at the very beginning, people would not even blink, would not even pay attention. And in this case, this is the story where you could receive negativity or a lot of negative attention, but that in and of itself speaks about your value, about your power, about your status in their eyes, because people see threats in people that they consider to be very strong, and they see this opposition in a very strong individual. So I just want to say, validation can come naturally or authentically for you in the mirror or in the people, from people who genuinely or with no attachment, let's just say, like unconditionally love you for who you are. Other sources of validation I do not see, and I can validate you in here because I can see so much like just wanting the best for people, and all you're being faced with is literally a lot of mud, a lot of mud. Even the people who are recognizing you, I can see in here, they do so from a very logical and detached standpoint, whereas it's not okay. Like, this is not okay, this is not how this pile should be related to. This is not the case, and don't believe that you're gonna be alone for the rest of your life. This is not true. Even like in this case, people will settle, they will settle in this energy, and they will be able to see things about you that they didn't because of their emotions. But I want to say, don't give up on people, and don't give up on the idea that you will feel belonging, or you'll feel like you'll be genuinely appreciated. This is gonna happen, but this is not gonna happen immediately. I can say that for sure. And with a star, your value is everlasting and ever true. Don't doubt yourself. Don't. This is not the case. Like, no matter what mirroring you could be receiving, this has nothing to do with you, okay? There seems to be also this desire to actually want to help, aid, and love you and admire you purely. But there is like some sort of obstacle in here that simply makes people behave otherwise. And it's very subconscious, or I would say unconscious in this case. It's as if the negativity you could receive could be very, let's just say, misaimed or misunderstood, or not misunderstood. Okay, this is not the story, not the case. It's as if they wanted to bring the best, but what they ended up bringing was their reaction to the trigger, okay? And I wanted to say, in the empowering element, you possess a lot of power. You possess a lot of like effortless access to raw power in your presence, in your aura. Don't overlook that. It's very, don't overlook it, because um, there will be points in time, if this is not the case already, where you will be a bit defeated with a miser, But this will quickly dissipate because it's ever again changing. It's a whole process. The things that people, the ways in which people perceive you, they're constantly processing, like, okay? And that is making it so that one day you can see the person in one energy and the other in a completely different one on another level of, let's just say, emotional processing. We could be, by the way, saying stuff like, I'm tired of this, I don't want to do this anymore. Wait till it ends, wait till it really shows you the true, like, nature of things. Because it's, you're gonna feel like, I just want to say, the future outlook of this pile looks so promising, you just don't see it. Like, it's so promising that you cannot perceive it. Specifically, why? Because the stage in which you are at right now could be about planting the seeds, and you don't necessarily see the results of your efforts. And that is why it's making you feel so defeated. Fundamentally, all they want, beyond their all, like, the whole misconception, projection, all they want is just to be by your side. Just like a sad, grievous, very sad, like, feeling of, I just wanted to be by their side. I just couldn't, I didn't know how to properly express it. I just didn't know how. Like, that's, I wanted to bring the best. Like, in here you have a lot of people saying, I wanted to bring the best, but how it happened, I brought what was not the best. Okay? And there is just a lot of shame in here. I want to say there is just a lot of shame and regret. It's more so shame. Regret we don't have as much, but we have in here shame, because regret will play out in the nearest future, after you are gonna either leave, or after things will settle in such a way that it will be pretty obvious that their behavior is not not okay. Okay, that's definitely what I can see. Like, I want to say, just do what you did already. I keep on saying that, and don't question, doubt, or come to conclusions. Okay. Uh, Now, I know I can also say don't jump to conclusions while I'm literally jumping in hoops, or jumping the rope in conclusions. That's how I can say it and then do it. But it happens. I just want to say, don't discourage yourself, because the amount of extended power I can see in here over time, and it's gonna feel very natural or effortless. It's like everything you've already been doing has triggered things into motion. There is no need for you to further extend yourself. That's the energy. So, pile number one, this is your energy, this is your reading. I hope it resonated with you. I hope it answered some questions you've had. And I hope you found the experience to be an overall pleasant one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Comment below your situation, how it went, how the reading went, what points you met, or how you found yourself into the reading. You can also donate if you want for the channel. The link is going to be in the description and the comment section. As well as check out the old videos on the channel. We have some very interesting ones. I don't know why I keep on saying we, this is so strange, but yeah. Me and the energy takes like a whole, like, two people or a team actually. So, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of things like this. Always aiming for the best for you, wanting to bring the most useful information to the table for the best people in this world. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the future reading. Take care. Hello, pile number two. Your reading was associated with the almost crystal-like shaped perfume. This is going to be a reading. We have the first card, the Forgotten, Missed Opportunities and Fear of Failure. This is very strange. Very similar, by the way, to pile number one. So if you felt called to listen to both, then definitely go ahead and do that. We have in here an energy of flexibility and resilience and strength and everlasting opportunity, something like this. What people say, what they talk about you in regards to you, it's something along the lines of no matter what's happening, this person is right back up and ready to go. There is this energy of not fitting in anywhere, not belonging necessarily, but in also a very good way. Um, when I saw missed opportunities and fear of failure, it's like these don't necessarily apply, or it could be that universally you could be seen as someone or somebody who either missed or misses the mark. I don't know what this is all about, but genuinely the rules in which you function do not make you seem like a person who's losing, even though like in the exterior there might have been something as of late or recent or in general that might have been like perceived as a missed opportunity. Why this is very like strange for me is because this is like the first card from pile number one, and yours is like generally, let's just say in the deck, it's not like the most open, warm, expansive, or let's just say positive in general. Though this all has a very, let's just say, a comeback moment, a very unexpected turnaround. They say that you mold the rules of life in your favor. They say that you have your own way to traverse and to create things in a very like just personal logic, or you dictate the rules in your life. They say that you are like isolated, but you're very wise or distinctive, and that there is no there's no wonder like why this person is isolated or alone, because they have to find their match. That's the forgotten as well. So there is a lot of ostracized, separated, or not feeling belonging right now. There seems to be a lot of talk about that, but as well about your individuality and how it all makes sense. And it kind of like feels also like for some it could be a bit with sadness, being spoken with sadness, or a sort of feeling of why are they alone, or why for having so much inside of them they are like alone and not having so much connection around them. Or it could be the case that people discuss or talk about your solitude or just loneliness in general, and that you appear to be very strong and very unaffected by the whole thing, and as if you don't even need it, don't need this connection. Strongly, however, this card came as a feeling of this person is an individual and they don't need to bow to anyone else's rules. They could talk as well about your energy being very established, serious. Your demeanor could be very also aloof, but at the same time also kind of as well in a bit dismissive. But in what sense? It's like it's as if it's dismissive because it filters or distills only the best, or only the most proper influences in their life. So yeah, pretty much all about pile number two, being able to sift through the people. And it seems to come with a lot of respect, a lot of, again, very similar to pile one, but it's like this pile has to be approached in a very serious, decent, and honorable way. It's so interesting that you have as well the Four of Pentacles in here. So I would say universally people do talk and see your value. They can perceive it to be quite, out there and obvious, but at the same time it's there is warmth in you, but there is something in here that is preventing that from necessarily showing up in a more, not even like clear, but it is there. It's as if you can hold people, or they say, or they talk about the distance in here that's happening, even though they can feel like they would be able or they would want to be friends or, you know, have a close relationship to you. This could be also talking about a dimension of energy that you are like a specialist, because the character in here depicted in the Four of Pentacles is a very knowledgeable person in general. However, there seems to be also kinds of perceptions in your regard that make people really hold back or not even want to necessarily um, if they want to come to you, it's in a very, let's just say, controlled, or let's say how it is, like colder or more detached or non-emotional way, or it's like they're testing the waters in here. Okay, anyway, like I want to say your quality of person, how you are in general, is very distinctive, it's very out there, and people are noticing that, and they're also kind of talking about this. There is like also a hint in here, although like it's hidden, almost hidden power with the Emperor in reverse. It's like there is much more to this pile than meets the eye, and you know that's like very interesting. In what regard? In this case, we have like very close cards to you that are representing a lot of power, like a core, a very confident and very established, grounded person. Um, Very, let's just say, presentable, but at the same time there are surrounding like cards in here who show that you could be also a sweet and kind, let's just say, like I want to say, people can talk or refer to you in such ways that would surprise you in a bit of a negative way, because they can refer to you as being very cold despite not knowing the full truth of who you are. And in here with this, let me check, this is Six of Wands. Yeah, I don't know what, seven of Wands. Anyway, I'm looking at the character and it's genuinely surprising, because we have a very soft spot with this pile that's not necessarily being readily available to people to interact with and to have access to, but it's just like so. The talks in here revolve around your status, around the fact that how you expose, how you present yourself to the world, and how it all creates this very powerful impression. Okay, like with Forgotten as well, it could be an impression that's long lasting, that's very like they remember it, they keep it in their mind, stuff like that. So I would say this is, they have to get to know you better to actually evaluate you and get the full truth of who you are. But in here I cannot say, like it's a very sweet also energy with this seven. It's a very sweet, but you know, you can rarely access or give access actually to people. And in general, like people could talk about, you know, look at them, they're so guarded, or look at them, they're so like, you know, they behave in a very highly esteemed way or stuff like that. I don't know. It seems to be like the um, surroundings in here are placing a deliberate attention on the way in which you carry yourself, and you seem to be standing out to people. I can pick up in here on conversations that are a bit, let's just say, be careful with them, be really cautious with them, because we don't know what can happen or what can they can show, you know. It's very cautious, let's not let's not even like try to provoke them or stuff like that. There seems to be like a sort of also avoidant energy in here that's being projected into the reading, saying that like in the conversation point form, it would take a very, let's be cautious, careful, let's observe, let's study them, let's understand what they're made of, let's not jump to immediate action or stuff like that. There seems to be a lot of conversations in here relating to that. And someone in here talked about them being fascinated or like, I don't know, very surprised and careful about you. Okay, the Nine of Wands is like very like guarded, careful, watching from the distance type of energy. So it generally makes sense that you would also be discussed, but more in a much like rare setup, but by very, let's just say, observant again, and very like gossipy, let's say, people that would examine and deeply, like under almost like under the microscope, would try to sort you out, or would try to predict what's your next move with the Five of Wands. But in general, like these people, they are like coming to this realization as well that they are kind of very not so able to predict you very well. Okay, I see in here an incapability to see what's gonna be your next move. And with the Forgotten, it's like this person is not registering on our radar. Like this person is much more unpredictable than I initially thought of, you know. It's also an information in here saying that there is much that's not known, or things that people are unsure about. And that seems to be making people, it does make me feel like this is like an ongoing thing that makes people just speculate and talk about you in various ways. And the most amusing thing, it's the fact that no matter how much they try, there seems to be always like some either gap or some misconception in here. Seems like this pile out of the, I don't know, the comparing to the first one, seems to be more secretive or not so easy to read. And people, because of it, they talk a lot about you, okay? In that sort of way, or it's like things are not clear with them, things are not very apparent, and I don't know what to expect from them, okay? There is like, people cannot figure you out, so to speak. This is not so easy to them, and this is definitely, I could say, even in this case, a bit frustrating. There seems to have been also a conversation mentioning the fact that, you know, they said that you were not who you, like, they're not who they seem on the surface. That's what I can see as well. So there is also like very, I just want to say very almost painful, or not painful, but just like the fact that they cannot figure you out is driving them mad, okay? That's the energy I see. That if you were to be taken for granted or overlooked, that you'd show quite a lot of unexpected powerful moves. Now, this is kind of like the case where I've seen it's like almost a power play. I don't know if you're doing this on purpose or not, but I've seen this happen when a person is playing like small or innocent, for example. For the example's sake, I'm not touching the topic of innocence or not, okay? Uh, not in general, not talking about this. This is just an example, because it speaks the most in here. But it's like when the enemy is basically relaxed and they can pretty much think to themselves that they have figured you out. You know, that's the energy, and that they can pretty much know how to play or how to function in such a way that they could outsmart you. Just a lot of it's just like a very strange feeling, like people would try to read you, and the more they try, the more satisfied they feel about the fact that maybe they understood something, the more surprised they are gonna get in the end, because this pile is beyond their perception, or just normally you don't even play by the rules, something like this. So it's kind of funny though, like the pain that people have, the headaches for trying to figure you out or predict you. With Forgotten, it could be also that some of them even either were talking in general or to themselves that they should give up and just observe. There is also this information in here that you look very promising to them, or with very like a lot of things in mind, very promising and inspiring, or in general very like this person will go far, okay? And that you're yet to surprise everyone, and that every like projection or information, false information that was given to you, or given like in regards to you or ascribed to you, is yet to be proven, okay? Yet to be proven to be true, okay? I saw this from the Ace of Pentacles, that you can't be conquered, um, and you can't be made to lose. You can't be made to lose. Okay, it's as if whatever power play is brought in, or whatever power play is being brought into motion when it comes to pile 2, it's kind of short. It has a short lifespan. It has a very short life in general, and it's as if there must have been in here an attempt to play, or to outsmart, or to somehow be first and then place you second or last in general. It seemingly made them feel as if they got away, but in the end, as time progressed, it showed it almost as if it made it like the circumstance itself turned in your favor, okay? So it's like, you could lose officially, or you could lose something of a game or bet or whatever, the game, or that would seemingly place them in an advantage, but not for very long, and that is a very short-lived victory, okay? Again, something very similar to something that I was reading in the previous reading. In the previous video, I covered this aspect, maybe in also, I'm not gonna say which pile, but still. It's like you can't make them, like, you can't cause them to lose. You can't, even if they lose, they somehow again win. That's also like in the conversation topic, in the conversation direction, that is someone in here talking about you in a very, let's just say, competitive and negative way, and somebody who wants to almost like eliminate you, in the sense that they do not like that you establish this winning, like that's almost like passive, okay? Yeah, and you come back ever new. There is no opportunity that can be missed, lost to begin with when it comes to you. It does remind me of an energy from the past, um, that it's like you cannot make them. It's there, the opportunity. The person from pile number 2 is the opportunity themselves. But it's like this could be about this, and also and the aspect of you just create them, or you're just naturally flowing towards them, okay? That's generally what's going on in here, I would say. There is also in here a desire to spy, control, and know as much as possible about you. We should know more about this person. We should also, I saw in here, we should send more people to study and inspect about their whereabouts. Now, this is kind of interesting. I don't know what this is all about, but it's like there is a possibility that this pile will, or actually is already encountering some people who were sent to gather information about you. This is like it could be a petty group, it could be anything, actually, but in general terms, these are people who are trying to gather information and then send it to someone. I feel like this is again, could be an overseer, manager, whatever this is, I don't know, but it makes me feel like genuinely there is a lack of information. There is a shortage of information when it comes to pile number 2, and there is a constant need to efficiently, let's just say, or just efficiently figure you out. I don't know, it's just like a sort of a desperate like attempt to understand or to figure everything out. I don't know, it's just weird, okay? That's the deal. And there seems to be also a person in here discussing you and talking about you, and the conversations are about this, and the intention is to make them feel as though they are equal to you. There seems to be like the idea that if they were to know everything about you, they would match your energy, okay? And again, with Forgotten, this pile is much more um, about who they are than just a mere information. I feel like even the information can at some point become irrelevant, or your patterns could even overwrite those. So it's just curious. Like whoever is doing that is genuinely desperate and thinks that with the use of information, they will be able to, let's just say, have a power move or upper hand in the situation that they perceive would turn in their favor if they were to do so, okay? And seems to be like this is not a generally, let's just say, influential person. This just feels like a person who is either in charge or just a person with a lot of connections of sorts. So this is like also not a very important person, but still, it was an information worth mentioning. Yeah, and I saw this from the Nine of Pentacles. There is just this genuine feeling like they don't need anyone. Look at them, they're so independent. They're so like they're just so full of themselves. Stuff like that, has been said. But it's just like it triggers people. I just want to say the Nine of Pentacles made it feel to them that like you're not going to be a team member, or that you're not going to succumb to the group mentality, okay? It's as if we have the case where your will is not easily or if at all bent, because there is a strong sense of identity that's being exuded from the reading, from the energy of pile number two. So there is like this also desire to manipulate or to like, I got carried away. This is a conversation thing, but still, it's like wanting to make it so that you depend on them and look at them, they're so independent and don't need anyone, okay? There is a group assimilation in here. There is a sort of a desire to make you fit in their group as though you'd be for them very useful or very influential. There was also like some, like, this is kind of strange how this translates into conversations, because those are conversations that are particularly, let's just say, envious, or let's call this how it is, a bit negative, though it carries like a lot of, again, respect, okay? But how it all makes sense into one reading, this is just, I don't know, it's just so random. It does have a continuity, but it's a very surprising thing. And the sheer aspect of either like just one, like one, number one, or like the feeling of isolation, or not even isolation, but this pile walks by themselves and is not afraid to do that, okay? um, it's just like, not afraid to do it by myself. I'm not afraid to make things happen for me, even if it means standing or facing the storm alone, okay? There is this whole like almost surrounding energy or group that's like looking and gathering, like, again, information for you. It's kind of a laughable attempt to control or to have an upper hand, but also I saw in here this energy of making everything look and feel like it is an equal to you. I just feel like this group, or whoever this is, it does feel like it's a multitude. So yeah, whatever the case may be, but it wants to make you bow, or it wants to make you feel below them. And it seems like at first, when that is happening, like in the like plan section, or when they try to craft this whole thing, they think that they have everything figured out. And when they meet you, your energy is basically converging in such a way that it's making them feel very scared and very lost, and in general just very puzzled and scattered. It's as if, they have the remote, they think that they have everything under control, and once they meet you, it's all over the place. Okay. And there seems to be a collective defeat in here that's always linked to pile number two. It's as if when people challenge you for a duel, the ultimate value, or you have such a powerful capability to turn the game in your favor or shift the game in your favor. That's why perhaps exactly I was referring to the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So whatever like plan, grandiose, whatever thing that's being aimed at you just miserably fails at some point because it has this shortage of, logic or long term. It's like very short term oriented win, okay, like proving themselves or snapping back or telling you something where literally your energy could be molding or changing the course in a very beneficial direction and in your favor. And it happens naturally, I want to say. This is particularly why this is so funny at times, even like, yeah, it carries a funny aspect. It does feel like this file has never tried to insist, to never try to, prove anything to anyone. It's as if always the challenge has been thrown from the other side and with a lot of desperacy, okay? And when this pile just naturally won and, a zero-sum game or something like this has been employed in here on their part in your direction. And it's like the same story when you try, for example, to bring someone down, and the more you try, the more desperate you become in that attempt, the worse it gets. And I would say even that you must have encountered, or you will encounter at some point, the energy of, it seems like they won. It doesn't even affect you like that. So that's the extent to which this is so amusing, because it's like for you it's not a big deal, for you it's not about this, and ultimately you end up doing something passionately, or you end up doing something by like on your own that just works, that just like again brings a lot of reputation back to you. And arbitrarily, like generally on the other side, it feels like you won, and that's like very, for them, it's like, why I've done everything I could to make that person not be not be so popular or not be as important. And literally, I got like a small win, but in the long term or in the long run, completely the opposite effect. I would also want to go ahead and say that there is now you're gonna say isn't the case, or you didn't try to do that. I will say that this is the result of it. It kind of happened, or it happens. Maybe you don't resonate with it, or who knows, really. Like, but listen, just question it, okay? Just try to see if it works for you. I just want to say that people got scared in the very beginning, in such a way that it's like it's as if they wanted to open up or considered doing that, but they immediately got triggered, and that trigger threw them in very manipulative slash toxic behavior. Yeah, that's the thing. And they were wanting to build something genuine, okay, but they were very scared of your like almost aura, or they were very scared of being rejected. And this is the result of it. Like, they were genuinely scared and they became the ones to seize control. With the card, I forgot which is the official standard name of it, but with Tainari, I know the character more or less. It's just a very dear possibility to connect. There seems to be also, like, I love this reading is going more so, or even more about not even necessarily the discussions, but the overall feel to the reading comes about with conversations and the monologues. Okay, like what people thought to themselves would be even more appropriate as a topic for this reading. But it's like, if things were safe for them to open up, they would probably want to. would want to extend the possibility for a connection, okay? That's what I can see or say in this case. But all of that seems to be overridden by a lot of emotional like trigger. Also, I got the sense that you must have been discussed in a very, very intense and surprisingly intense manner. There is also there seems to be an information circling around about the fact that you cannot be easily impressed or swayed. It feels like also you have a very strong identity, and that is making people feel like they are again losing. Like there is just something about you that's so grounded, or I would say, I really have to organize this information. Um, Generally, like not bending their will or not wanting to sacrifice something for the sake of having a win-win like relationship. I don't know. This is what came through. Maybe this is the perception. I do not know. But the thing is, there is a desire to make you be part of the gang, of the group, whatever this is, and like we can offer you something, but you just have to bend your will, you just have to surrender. And for me it's like that very funny question, like why do they have to surrender? Because they have nothing to win. They think they can offer something substantial, but I don't see this as substantial at all. If anything, I can see this pile winning more out of being by themselves, by being an individual who has a name and who has a direction and can create everything and more than it's being offered, with the price of sacrificing something in here that seems to be very like dear to your identity or very dear to your energy, I would say. There is also an energy of luck, or everything comes easily to them. Like, I just want to say, this pile, it must have been the case that the experiences that you've been through were solidifying a sense of powerful identity that made it so that you're not like undefined, or that you're not in the place where you do not understand who you are. With prosperity lies ahead, again, this is a very paradoxical, let's just say, message. It's like no matter what, this pile will succeed. No matter what, this pile will have the upper hand. They always have it figured out, and they will be even greater than we are. Or there is just feeling lost and feeling like, I will never match their energy. And with prosperity lies ahead, and I was also seeing the eight of pentacles in here. Ultimately, like a lot of winning, a lot of like prosperous. I just want to just say, like, abundance is coming. It's a very, like, luck is on my side. It's the situation where you could be in the right place at the right time, being recognized by the right people. And this is a very like rare for them type of instance, and it's genuinely very upsetting. There is a strong manipulation thingy that's happening in the background or in the scenes, and it's making people go mad. Okay, it's making them like, we have to either get rid of that person or assimilate them. We have to get rid of them, but we don't know, like, are we gonna lose, are we gonna win? If we're gonna lose, then maybe we should assimilate. A very, like, let's just say, scary, fear driven act. I want to also say that there is a very soft, again, something I was seeing, a very delicate or even sensitive slash emotional, very attuned side to you. But it's like, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it, because I can show you other sides, okay? There is a lot of conversation about your luck. There is a lot of conversations about your um, just ease and flow and who you are as an identity and how it all folds and just works together miraculously. It's just a very strong sense of, I don't know how this works, but for them it does. And I believe that's the most important thing for them, but it's only for them and so not for us, and therefore we're suffering. Like, that's the story. The most empowering thing in this case, just for you to know, is that regardless of what's going on in your life, in your surroundings, genuinely there is one thing that's certain, and that's you. And why is it this is carrying the certainty or stability or stabilizing aspect? Because again, it feels like this pile is the person who's capable of sorting things out in life in such a way that it's not the people, it's not the circumstance, it's not the opportunity or the job or even the conjunctions and, crossroads of situations and stuff. It's more about your, action taking and your implication that's generally bringing a lot of like actualized best outcome type of story in here. And it just like a lot, I'm not gonna lie, like there is a lot of chaos in this reading for this pile in the context of things people said and what they discussed about you. Is just a lot of, it's very difficult to read because I usually don't zone in on that information only when it's absolutely useful, but to be honest with you, like the conversations in here were very fear driven. Perhaps the most, let's just say, surprising aspect in this case is the fact that it was never about the conversations, it was never about the actual speculation or stuff. It's just about, like, I don't know, people's um, felt things and emotions and generally very, like, sad and um, pessimistic ones and a lot of like dark energy. This pile, your energy, however, as it comes into contrast with what I have seen, it's much more pure. It's much more like a bright light. Okay. And with this bright light thing I felt or I saw in your reading, it creates a lot of like, the same element of discomfort that you experience when you light up a candle in the dark. It's like you can see the dark, but from the dark it can see you type of story or scenario, or it generally draws a lot of attention, even I would say in your case, or you'd say unwanted attention. I didn't want that type of attention, but I got it still. So it's just a lot of, and from the validation standpoint, there is no, you have no idea how just important you look in people's eyes and how much, like, again, negativity is being directed at you, and like a desire to just like put this fire out. Like, that's how strong it goes. And it's just like a bit sad for me, to be quite honest with you, because instead of this pile being recognized, instead of this pile being like seen and acknowledged and just cherished for the energies that they do possess, all I can see happening is the opposite. The just again the game of trying to attempt to bring everything down or to tear down everything that is related to your success, and it doesn't work. It's in the present moment as it unfolds every single moment. There is this feeling of this pile is always ahead, and this is just infuriating, like just infuriating to people, because there seems to be going like a very standard practice either of intimidation or power dynamic, power play, that seems to be throwing people into general levels of comfort and resignation to the fact that this person can be bargained with, this person can be um, inspected for weaknesses, and in order for us to exploit them. In your case, whatever the case may be, with this play, it's just a small temporary win. I just don't know. It's a very forward moving, fast and forward moving energy with pile number two. And it's such an energy that is generally making people go or continue their day with a lot of headaches. Like, this person is not gonna bend to our will, no matter how much we try. That's the story. Ultimately, I want to say there will be a lot of um, reward. I can say rewards in here that will be given to you with it's gonna be prosperity. I just want to say it's coming from this card. Prosperity lies ahead. Undoubtedly, there is going to be recognition for this pile sooner than later. Sooner or later, it will happen. And with Forgotten, is this is not going to be a forever like going story of um, overlooking, ignoring, or trying to mess with your energy. Okay, it's as if I can say, I feel like your energy eventually will prevail, and it will feel very disappointing for them. I can say, or I can give you that for sure. It's again going to be the case or the story that again we lost. We thought we won, but we lost. There is also a new energy I saw in here or felt. It's that you have this confidence and this feeling of this person has it in their birthright to claim power, to claim the role. To it's just like this is the also I don't know how to properly formulate it, but um, when you have, for example, a person who is meant to be who has some qualities that for example qualities of a leader, and you can see those, or if you're like perceptive enough, or you are just I don't know, if you have eyes and they're open, you can see it. This is the case, and something about this pile speaks to me about this, like this person again promising potential related information, but it's like this person is just gonna be used to a lot of money, or this person is going to have a lot of luck. Anyway, like no matter what, this person is going to be on top of the game because it's written in their genes, like it flows in their blood, or in their bloodline, in like whatever this is, no matter the setbacks, there is just this prevalent feeling of optimism, even in people's eyes, in the sense that they do perceive your life is ahead. Okay, it's just ahead, like no matter what's happening in the present. And it seems like also you must have been or are caught in a sort of loop or an environment that just doesn't match you, and that means sooner or later is going to be changed or just eliminated, and I would say even very abruptly eliminated. There is like just a pull to slowly but steadily give you more or claim more, or for you to step up more into this position or in this situation where you are best placed with your qualities in a proper role, or in a proper like relationship, or in a proper environment, I would say, or in circumstances that are going to be the best representative of that. So it's like if the person has such strong capabilities or traits, they are not meant to do a trivial or a job or an occupation that blatantly ignores or overlooks those qualities. So that's the story, or that's the case with you. And remember that there is like unfortunately kind of this energy of this person is sticking their nose no noise their nose too high up, and there has to be something to stop them. And thus we have again this loop or this play that's always somehow driven to bring you down constantly. I also believe there is a very, very important thing you have to know of, and that it's all temporary. Perhaps the most, let's just say, puzzling thing that will be answered in this context for this file is going to be the fact that it is this whole war that seems to be going in the background is going to be solved in an instant. Why and when and how? Because it will be shown in time who you are, first of all. Second of all, um, this is in and of itself the reason why you get picked up like so much, because there is a lingering feeling of either defeat or we won't measure up. It's as if when you step into the room, the first thing that happens exactly this, exactly the realization. And it's just like mind-blowing, just mind-blowing, and immediately the desperate game like is being um, put into motion. So if you ever have doubts about what you did wrong, despite really not being even aware of, not knowing, like not even knowing what was happening because you had no ill intention, then know that this is coming from your power. Okay, this is the case where instead of recognizing someone else's power, the person just wants to bring it down, and various attempts to do that. And it's just saddening to me for me to see that, because what this pile deserves is a lot of recognition and a lot of being seen. So yeah, that's the, it's not even the short version, but it's the story in here that seems to be wanting to be repeated all this time and for such a long like continuity. Yeah, that's the word. So I think that's it, pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope you had an amazing experience with this reading and it helped you out with some information about you. It was hell of a confusing reading for me to sort out, um, because yeah, it contained generally very concrete fighting and war energies directed at you, despite you winning, despite you always like kind of being on top of the game, because in and of itself you do not carry the desperation that they do. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment. If you want to donate, you have the link in the description and the comment section. If not, that's also okay. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I'd be grateful and very happy. And I really hope to see you in the future readings. Take care. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. Okay, I bet this one is gonna be intense as usual, and it will throw away all the stability and the rules of the reading itself that I have pre-established. Well, I suppose that's pile number 3 for us, but we'll see. Okay, we have the most intense card in the very beginning. This is the Assassin, Ruthlessness and Conviction. There is a very violent energy coming from this one. It's saying that, again, very interesting, very similar to all the piles, not to be messed with, or it's as if this person could be also potentially dangerous. Bad things will happen if you mess with them, information, and this could translate itself in the reading as stuff being said about you in a group setup, or in, like, it could be, by the way, in this case, one-on-one conversations, like generally intimidating, and this person could be dangerous. The Assassin as well is a sneaky energy, so it's like it could come off as quiet observation from their part, or it's as if you don't even necessarily have to be that way, or you don't necessarily even resonate with that idea. It's like this pile doesn't concern themselves or their life with pursuing something negative towards some person. Okay, that's the funny bit in here. Though, in their regard, in their perception, it could be that they could be able to do something that would awaken that energy in you. But in general, I want to say with the Assassin, it's a lot of, let's just say, quiet fear. Not fear, but also like kind of intimidation as well. And that there will be consequences if you mess with this person. Okay? Now, the interesting bit is the fact that this pile has complexity just like 1 and 2, but this complexity as well is driven towards the idea that everything that you direct at me will be coming back to you tenfold, that can as well translate itself into good stuff. So that means if you have this energy of joy and positivity being brought to you, then consequently, I suppose, this will be brought back to the people that projected. It's like a mirror again, very similar to 1 and 2 again, but yeah, I love that we see this in here. This, however, in energy carries a very defined and different tone, meaning that, let's just say you're someone who has it in their energy to be intimidating in a way, like ruthless with enemies, and in general very strong boundaries and very strong definitions of who I am and who I am not. Okay, what I will allow and what I will not allow. This is the energy, and it seems like the conversations held that or had that intensity or tone or undertone when they were taking place. In general, this is a highly esteemed card, but it's esteemed, and the respectful admiration part really comes from a space of intimidation and fear. So if you don't vibe with that, if you are more so like a very, let's just say, and that's in and of itself like kind of the paradox in here. I just don't see this pile being evil, or it feels like people can step on your toes at times and bring up this assassin energy, and it's like the consequences of their behavior catches them up either by your hand or not, but still, it's a very intense pile as well. Because conviction and here ruthlessness are in general very, no, let's just say it like it's very concrete, very yes or no, black and white type of energy. Though I want to say with the world, you have a great reputation. And I would say, this is a bit kind of puzzling as well for me. We have the world, which is represented by Paimon, and we also have Assassin. Okay, and we have Death in Reverse. I'll get back to that. But we have almost a very double-sided game in here. It is as if you do represent innocence as well, but it's as if when this innocence gets almost like desecrated or stuff like that, can be actually the story for pile number 3, then it gets quickly and powerfully brought, destroyed into flames and into chaos. So in conversations, this is careful, calculated descriptions of your character and analysis of the no-nos and the yes is with you, okay? There seems to be someone in here who is honestly having a very, very concrete intention to read and understand you, and they are seemingly very aware of your qualities. Okay, that's what I can see from the assassin. But in general, I would say this is more so about even perception. That's how people see. It's like innocent, pure, and open, but also ruthless with BS. That's the closest, shortest version I can give you. Anyway, it's very puzzling how we can find such polar opposites, you'd say, but they complement each other, I would say, or they make a lot of sense, and they are actually very, very nice to have around together. Why? Because they explain each other really well. When the world aspect represented by this innocence, and the world in general is very welcoming and friendly in this context. So when this thing gets let's just say overlooked, ignored, or even blatantly disrespected, we have the assassin energy stepping in. So yeah, The assassin doesn't mean that literally you're the assassin or stuff like that. But pretty much what I can bring to the reading is the fact that there is no way back. There is no way back when the disrespect took action or took place. And there is a fierce defense energy going on in here, okay? We have as well the Two of Cups in here. In conversations, this could have been someone admiring you, someone really resonating and vibing with you, because the Two of Cups generally, it's a very, I wanted to say competent, it could be also competent, but I would say more so this is alignment, and this is a pleasant reference when it was mentioned in a conversation with you. Oh my god, with you, about you, okay? Um, there is this feeling of, with this Ace of Cups, that there is again either a history, a recommendation, a sort of a narrative or a backstory when it comes to you, that people just generally feel very drawn and very this is also, I would say, Kaya would be for me secrecy, or not as very, let's say, upfront, because also this is kind of the ice element. So uh this is, I'd say, because it's carrying the Ace of Cups, this is a detached, also kind of stepping back type of admiration. So quality, like this is a detached sort of admiration, okay? In the context of the question we had for the topic, it means that there is distant, almost reverberating conversations or things said about you in a very secretive way that are complimenting you a lot, I would say. With the world in here, Two of Cups, almost like a lot more than they let on, okay? That's for sure, because with the Chariot, even, like, I would say, there is even more that's even hidden or in thoughts that I would pleasantly and wonderfully explore, that's being, let's just say, gate kept from flowing into the conversations, okay? That's for sure. I want to say this is so funny. Like with the Chariot, it's almost as if there is someone in here having much more compliments or even greater levels of intricate, like, aware compliments given to you, rather, but they are like hidden, or they are not, they are withheld, they are kept to themselves. That's the story in here, I can say for sure. They discussed your friendliness, they discussed your light-heartedness, they discussed, or they talked about your popularity, I would say, because the world is also like very international type of, story or thing or energy, I would say. And it carried this recognition, because as well, world is recognition, at least in my definition. But the thing is, like, it's very dear, a very, like, someone in here spoke about you in a very dear way, or in a very welcoming setup or manner, very, very fond of you, okay? That's the world card in here for you. I would want to say for your pile that things are really looking good. um Despite having this assassin thing, it's your overall reputation, energy, and the things that circulate about you have a very soft and positive outlook, at least from the very beginning. But I will get back to you more of to the rest of the cards if necessary. But it's generally very pure, very reflective, and in alignment with who you are also, and very much so a reflection of you get what you give, in a way, because again, the world, you're having no issue with just giving, being generous, being open, being kind, and that seems to be, let's just say, fondly discussed in this context, and even it carries a greater dimension to itself with this chariot in here. Well, it seems like, again, there is much more. I would say this would be even a greater or better topic for thoughts. What do people think about you type of story, because we have in here a lot of depth, or we have reason to dig deeper into. Okay, that's for sure, I can say. But things are looking really good. And if you feel like you have a very good and established reputation, and one that has the cornerstones rooted in the idea of feeling genuine, kind, and open and receptive, and in general people oriented, then this is definitely your story. Now, is this the full story? I don't know. You carry much more than I can like outline in here, but it's a good chunk of it, let's just say. Because the assassin doesn't mean necessarily that you're gonna be, let's say, um, there is nothing that this pile will not like. Let's just put it differently. You're not gonna be a pillow for everyone else's behavior and yeah, toxicity, because the assassin, like literally, I can take back everything I gave you if I need to. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to the next cards. We have the death card in reverse. I will not cover the character herself right now, but I just wanna say there is a halt in here, a powerful stop or stuckness that's being outlined. It's as if this pile was built and in general is built for great stuff or big things. But at times it does feel like with this death in reverse, people are just not ready. And in discussions, it could be that this translates itself as this pile is much, is too much, or is too much for me, they're too intense, there is just too much to bear or to be aware of or to perceive in general. But I want to say it carries a very noble slash very honorable and very good feel to it. Okay. We also have Empress and also King of Cups in reverse. So definitely pile number three, if you have no like a lot of people you come in contact with, you're exposed to a very wild and wide, actually I wanted to say, social setup or surrounding, then definitely this is the case that you have a lot of people on your side already without you even truly realizing or recognizing it. With death in reverse, also with Hu Tao being the representative, this makes me feel like it reminds me of the character's quality of being in general like highly esteemed and popular, but in this case it feels like it could relate to the message of I want to be in good relationships and I want to be generous and be receptive to absolutely everyone, everybody, but it's as if they don't allow me. There is reservations in here, like reserved energy coming from people's side, and a lot of I could open up, but I'm not ready for it, or I'm not sure I can do it. I don't know. Like that's the thing. Uh, the openness from pile number three is pretty surprising and in general very alluring and inviting. And it's a very decent thing. I just want to say it's a very decent, sweet, kind energy. But the readiness of people with this King of Cups looking in the other direction, it's as if we have in here, unfortunately, the message of they look elsewhere because they want to find someone who is more at their level. Okay, now I don't like the leveling thing, and I don't like the stuff that's like about the comparison and stuff, but that's what I can see, that's what I can channel in here. It's as if the people abandon the pursuit. Maybe you don't even need that stuff, who knows, really. That's just so funny. Like if you really think about this, like who the like needs that kind of energy? You do feel self-sufficient and capable of carrying yourself with grace. You have the Empress, and I love this because hear me out. Hear me out. This is giving me the energy of a person who is so welcoming that it makes them happy. I do not see like this need of like, fulfilling the need for connection and stuff. No, this is generally giving you a lot of joy practicing. And I want to say, converting it to the topic itself, this will come off as um, slowly people talking about opening up to you because of the safety element. So if you want to scope in on the safety element, it will definitely bring a lot of people in. And I want to just say it. You have such a kind and sweet and just loving. I just want to say the assassin could be a defense mechanism, or it could be like, precaution measure. Yeah. And, but in general, you are identified or you are registered on the radar as a very, very decent and loving person. That's what I can see with this Empress. And also we have the Hierophant. So I love that we have this challenging energy with Child. This is the character, and he always came off as spontaneous and ready to take on a challenge. So this pile has various aspects or facets to themselves that allow them to feel up and ready for a challenge or for a competition. Okay. And I'm ready to take it on. I'm ready to take the challenge. I'm ready to be challenged. I'm ready to shine. I'm ready to go for it. That kind of thing. And almost it could carry with the assassin a mix of energy of, dare to challenge me and let's fight. In a playful way, because I want to say the intensity in here for pile number 3 is big, but it kind of is also intense in the positive sense. So it's not that bad. It's not that, it's not that big of a deal, if you think about this. But yeah, with Five of Pentacles in reverse, there must have been a situation in here. Either you were sharing something with a person, or you were talking about something, or you generally advised the person, or you gave an aid in here. The person listened to it and actually took it in pretty well, and I would say this is a huge level of gratitude in here that they talk about to others. And there is like this awakening or spring energy coming to life energy, and type of information coming through, that you are generally recognized for being a person who is bringing the best to the table, or bringing the most actualized, with the judgment card. This is also the story of this person is bringing the most possible, like the best changes ever. Like, I feel comfortable, or this is a conversation along the lines of, I feel comfortable with them moving mountains, okay? That sort of thing. There is in here as well, with a surrender to the divine in reverse, a feeling of dependence on you. And I'm not gonna lie, this could have been conversations relating to the element of people talking about how enchanted they were. Okay, that's the story. And with the assassin, it's like they were holding back, or you were holding back in this case, more so you perhaps, by the way, because this is your representative card. There seems to be like a very relaxing, like this is a conversation that was held, took place with, let's just say, two very trusty people, like people, two persons who were super close, or let's just say super trusting of each other. That's a better one. So in this case, what we have, it's like almost the person is melting away, and they're talking about the fact that they wanna come close or approach you, stuff like that. Okay, but with the Sun and the Two of Pentacles and the Page of Wands, the person is not quite ready. I'm sorry, like the way I'm reading this, like it's the voice is doing stuff. Okay. um we have as well the Sun in reverse. Okay, the Sun in general is very positive, very joyous, open energy. In reverse, it could be again someone in here holding that joy or holding that whole excitement thing to themselves. Or it's as if you don't have to know about this, or you don't even necessarily have to know or to fully surrender to the idea, because either you would melt away or the person would melt away, stuff like that. The person doesn't really like to open up, I want to say that, but the feelings are strong. The Two of Pentacles in here, there is also a lingering message, like file number 3, super positive, by the way. I wonder, yeah, why? But because the 1 and 2 are very distinct in various ways and very concrete ways as well. But it's very funny how this one is as well distinct, but it's in its own like kind of like nature, I would say. Anyways, where was I? So we have the Two of Pentacles in here. The Two of Pentacles is about balance, juggling, responsibilities, duality, and balance between two things. Okay, so you can expect to encounter people who are saying one thing and behaving in another way, feeling one thing and behaving towards you in another way. I mean, this is kind of funny because it's not as intense as with 1 and 2. You will know the difference. You will, however, encounter such a situation that the person, has feelings, obviously have feelings, obviously has feelings for you, but what you will see, it's like a sort of an unknown distance or kind of conflicting or confusing energy that you will encounter in here for sure. I can tell you that. So, but you'll see it. Like, it's not gonna be as a big of a mystery for you, I can tell you that. Conversation wise, this could be people sneaking about information or finding out information or wanting to find out information about you. Yeah, that's the story in here about on that account as well. I do want to say that I don't know with whom that person was discussing this, like genuine question marks, but like Two of Cups, like the person was like, this person is so nice, like this person looks so good, they're so good. I don't know, like that's what I can see. It's so funny, like, and even fantasy in here. I would say this is also thoughts to themselves in this case or scenario, but it's like this person is just genuinely and enchanted by you, and yeah, very like dreamy and very like we're compatible. Yeah, that's kind of story we do have in here as I was looking at this chariot. um There is also a frustrating, explosive energy coming from someone. It's as if the person is trying to measure up either to you, to your energy, to who you are in here, and it's like generally making them feel really upset, or it's like they try to bring the best to the table so as to, let's just say, impress you. I just want to say it's very like desperate. Okay, so you will register in your radar. What's the person? Let me check something. Yeah, it's generally someone who's looking, who is inspecting, who's watching, whose energy you can feel, and also how you can identify them. They will look with the corner of their eyes, like with the corner of their eye, okay, or eyes. I don't know. Like it doesn't matter, but they are like inspecting, looking, checking what's going on, that sort of thing. Okay. We have as well in here a discussion or information being talked in a way that it says, oh my god, why do I have to complicate the formulation of this so much? But it's a desire or an inquiring or an inquiry about how to properly approach you, how to discuss um, a plan, or how to devise a plan is more accurate to say, so as to facilitate like an opening up from your side. And I'm like a bit, you're kind of opened already, so it's not necessarily that, but it's like a more like careful approach, maybe like what can I do to perhaps bring the best or drive the best possible outcome in this situation for pile number 3. Like what kind of behavior, like what are they looking for, what do they enjoy or like the best or see or appreciate the most, like that sort of story as well. I would say for having the Empress in the reading, it's a very good, like a very positive sign. Um, it's just surprising how much positivity overflows with pile number three, and I love that for you. Just expect a whole lot of hesitation, a whole lot of like mixed signals. I'm like really sorry about this pile number three. Maybe the situation doesn't justly represent your value, but the conversations in here were pretty decent and pretty nice and kind of also pure. I didn't pick up on necessarily some very negative or let's just say competitive energy, just like I did with the previous piles. But if you resonate with other piles as well, I definitely urge you to watch them and not forget that maybe there is something there as well. But just so to say, if it resonates that you're a very kind person but you have this like defense or you're ready for the worst, this is definitely like this is the definite like proper address, you know. You came for the right reading, for the right pile. I just want to say that you do possess this whole world inside of you, or you're able to contain it. And pertaining to the revealing or revelating aspect in this case, regardless of the assassin energy I was talking about, the surrendering or not aspect to you or you to people, I would say one thing: all of this really doesn't matter in the greater scheme of life, because you come off as very welcoming and very will be remembered for someone who's very, very nice and loving. I just want to say that and leave that here. And that I want you to understand that you have a huge impact or a huge extent of power with the way in which you interact with people and what kind and sweet emotions they have or they have as a result of having you in their life. So, um, there is just a lot of dance of life and positivity that's being brought to the table with you being by their side. Okay. And there seems to be also like a case where I heard they made my day or they're making my day. Um, there is also some sort of information I wanted to bring up. The more you are going to safely, also when I say safely, with yourself and also with people, but first of all, with you, the more safely you're going to deploy your energy when and how it deeply affects people, the better the outcome is going to be. But also, you have to be careful with that kind of configuration of character, that people are in general have like they have a strong like access and they could be cherishing your energy so much. The potential is huge in here, in that regard at least. But there's a slight like but to the whole thing equation. I highly advise you to, let's just say, find ways to properly secure your energy in such a way that you do not allow leakages or being taken for granted or insensible people to have free access to your energy, because I can sense that the flip in here, the switch, can be quite strong, powerful, and instant or immediate in such a way that it could be also traumatic for you and for the people around you. Because the assassin tells me that you can be quite, and rightfully so, cutting and also very, let's just say, almost like violent in a way. I want to say violent though in the assertion of the boundaries, but for us to not, because I'm speaking from my heart, because this is exactly the experience I've been having. And I want you to know that you're right to really love and to want to open up to everyone, because that's as well my character trait or my energy at times. It's such a beautiful, I think this is the best feeling ever. But we have to understand in here that not everyone or everybody is capable of containing and rightfully containing and appreciating that energy. So there will be instances where it's best to show the most cold and distant aspects or character dynamic traits um, possible, because the person is simply unable to take that in properly and just and really appreciate it. Um, Plus the let's just say use of energy or expense of energy that's gonna happen from your side. It's a lived story, unfortunately, but I just want to say, properly placing you in the right conditions with the right people will allow you to transcend and to basically apply the best possible outcome in your specific situation. But I want to say there is just a lot of positive stuff in here, a lot. And I want to say with surrender to the divine, there is also a desire from some people. It could be a discussion, it could be some sort of speculation or thing, that either them or you or they would like you to be more open. It's as if there is like a sort of a opening of a door, or a desire to unlock the potential, or a desire for change in the favor of deepening the connection with you. And it's as if they can already perceive or feel or sense the signs in you, but they are hesitant still to approach you. But I would say you have a lot of attention. That's on one hand. On the another, it's like a lot of wonder and curiosity about you. And to be quite frank with you, I don't see in here necessarily something bad. It's just like I would avoid unavoidable. I would avoid avoidant people, or I would perhaps avoid people with very unclear intentions. Um, or the ones you don't quite frankly are able, or you don't quite understand or are able to read. um, yeah, I want to also say, if there is a possibility for you to deepen that connection or that wholeness of character that you do have, then it's definitely something very encouraged, both from the people around you and from your case or your perspective. Also, the puzzling aspect in here perhaps would be about the fact that people do wonder whether it's possible to deepen the relationship with you. That's like surrendering to the divine, but it's as if either the circumstances, the present moment situation is too either complicated or uncertain so as to define or say a definitive answer relative to that topic. So, um, but there is a strong pull in here. There is a strong, let's just say, secretive pull, and it's kind of interesting because there is how this translates. Like, this is the funniest of things. How this will translate in real life will be basically the energy of people inspecting and trying to find out information about you in a very, let's just say, discreet slash kind of strange way. Because what you'll find on the surface and what you'll find in general, how it circulates and forms as an energy or as a behavior from people's sides, it's you'll find multiple people inquiring about you in a very, let's just say, suspicious slash like almost what's going on type of energy sense. So it's as if you are all of the sudden going to wake up one day finding out from people that a lot of people try to find information about you, related to you, or about your whereabouts. And it will feel like something is going on. Like, this is not true. This is not normal. It will feel like this, basically. So, there is like a also cautious game to predict the motions of how you're gonna react. But I want to say, with the, let's just say, violent like assassin, it could be like the first card. It could be the case that at first people could even find themselves like kind of hesitant, even hesitant and doubting themselves because they can buy into the aspect of being guarded that's coming from your side. So, that's in and of itself gonna a bit extend their pursuit or their um, quest for finding how to approach you. It's gonna lengthen the period or the mechanism in which this will unfold. So yeah. There also seems to be a correction energy, meaning that um, it was some sort of like there was some sort of inquiring about you, and it resulted, or your exposure to them resulted in them questioning their ways or perhaps changing things so as to either emulate or simulate actually an experience or a behavior trait of yours. Okay, this could be both because it sparks a lot of curiosity, and also because the person was like, I want to be like them and I want them to see me as one of their kind. Okay, now, one or the other, it's gonna vary in its like authenticity or how authentic this is, like the question stands, but it still kind of is a convoluted way to come close. Like, and I like that the creative quality of how people just generally try to approach you is just, I just want to say it's super creative, it's super ingenious. There is a talk in here with the idea that you are far, that you're inaccessible, that you're not as available as they would like you to be, or it's as if the situations are not necessarily playing in their favor when it comes to how, um, how things are working, how they perceive the situation, how their plans about you fit, you know. That's also a point I wanted to touch on, and yeah. So I suppose that's pretty much it in regards to your energy in this case. Things are looking good, I would say, and there is not as much I would like to further add because it feels like I'm lengthening the message without proper reason. But just wanted to make it a 45, but I'm like running out of words for some reason. It happens also with pile number 3 for some coincidental reason. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. It was a very genuine, raw, and expressive energy. I hope it resonated. Make sure to mention below how it resonated, and if it did, I'd be thankful for that to know what's going on. And once again, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like. If you want to donate, you'll find the link in the description section and the comment section for those of you who are interested. And um, also don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel. If you want, I have a we have okay, I have a very diverse spectrum of messages, and sometimes when you watch a video or when you go for one, you can literally encounter some very random information that needs to be heard by you in the reading. So definitely go ahead and don't forget to check that or check the other videos on the channel, older ones as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the future readings. Take care.